What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin. Over the past 24 hours, Bitcoin has made a move back up 2.25% to the upside. We are trading just below $9,800. And most of the top cryptos are following Bitcoin to the upside. In my last video, we were discussing that it was pretty evident that a whale dumped on the market. We saw a very quick drop to the downside, but what I also said was that the dump was insignificant and that I'm remaining bullish on Bitcoin as long as we're seeing higher lows and as long as we are above the previous multi-year downward sloping resistance. And before we get started, I need you guys all to hit that like button. Let's get 1,000 likes on this video. I'm looking at Bitcoin on the weekly chart, and what we can see is that Bitcoin is still maintaining above this multi-year resistance. If we look closely, Bitcoin is actually maintaining the previous resistance line as support. Looking at the daily chart, what I said in my last video was that this dump is actually pretty insignificant because we got some rejection off of a major supply line, which is expected to see some resistance around 10,500, just below 10,500. And we came back and we didn't really break below the previous multi-year resistance, right? We actually held it as support, and now we're getting a bounce to the upside. So the amazing thing that we're seeing on the chart right now is that Bitcoin just turned a multi-year resistance into new support right here. We are actually getting a bounce off of this level. This is the first time in multiple years that we've actually seen price action come and bounce off of this downward sloping resistance. If Bitcoin can maintain above this multi-year resistance, I actually think it becomes very likely that we do break above 10,500 in the not so distant future. I think a lot of people have already forgotten that Bitcoin just went through the third Bitcoin halving in Bitcoin history. And if we look at history, what we can see is that every single halving so far has ushered in a bull market, has ushered in major bullish price action. And I think a lot of people have already forgotten that we just went through the third Bitcoin halving in Bitcoin history, and very likely, just as we've seen in the past, this is going to make things more bullish for Bitcoin. Miners are receiving less Bitcoin. This makes Bitcoin more scarce. And because miners are receiving less block rewards, this also means that miners have less Bitcoin to sell onto the market. Miners are receiving half the amount of Bitcoin they were before, so very likely the selling pressure will be reduced and we could see some major bullish moves. So the analysis for Bitcoin right now is quite simple. There's no need to overcomplicate. We have a multi-year resistance that Bitcoin is currently testing above. We actually just created support along the multi-year resistance for the first time in 2 years. Now looking at the 3-day chart, what we can see is that we have this historic supply line now, 10,500, which has acted as resistance 3 times. So as long as we're creating higher lows above this upward sloping trend line, then things can remain very bullish. As long as we're maintaining this previous multi-year resistance as new support right now, things can remain very bullish for Bitcoin. And ultimately, as you guys all know, that final bullish signal is a break above 10,500, which would be the first macro higher high we've seen in multiple years. And if Bitcoin does pull this off, this could very well mean that Bitcoin is entering a long-term bull market, and I would be getting extremely bullish on Bitcoin at that point. So this is the kind of market structure that I'm looking for Bitcoin right now. Is I need to see Bitcoin get above this multi-year pennant formation. I need to see Bitcoin pivot above this multi-year resistance, create support along it as we're doing right now, and then get above that $10,500 level, create support along 10,500. And this would ultimately mean that Bitcoin is very likely looking for a long-term bull market. As long as the bulls are keeping the momentum, I do think Bitcoin could be testing that 14K resistance by the end of the year. And as I discussed, that $7,700 level is that downside target that I would be looking for in a bearish scenario. And at the very lowest, I think Bitcoin will not be dropping below 64.30. That would probably be the lowest price point we would see. And that would be an overall inverse head and shoulders for the market structure there. So any major dip at this point, I would take as a massive buying opportunity, and I would be looking to accumulate heavily on that dip. But overall, I'm still remaining bullish. There's nothing telling me that this trend is over. Right now, Bitcoin is just creating higher lows. And as long as we're maintaining within this trend, I got to remain bullish on Bitcoin. And I'm just keeping it simple. I'm not going to overcomplicate this. That's going to be it for me today, guys. Before you go, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to sign up with the CryptoWatch platform, which is the platform you see me use in all my videos. I'm going to be releasing some tutorials soon for CryptoWatch. And also check out all the links below. Follow me on Twitter, join the Patreon if you want to support this channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.